What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome to the Nerdy Narrative, and today I will be going over my August monthly wrap up. I think I read 16 books in the month of August, which is a lot. I actually had more scheduled, but then I added some books and I moved some books, and well, you know how it is when you're a bookworm. Today's video sponsor is author James Flynn, which was inspired by his upcoming new release, A Bunch of Fives. A Bunch of Fives is a collection that is going to smack you straight in the face with a mighty handful of powerful tales of fiction. This sucker packs a punch with 5 hard-hitting stories, all of which will leave you stunned, dizzy, and in a delirious stupor. Within these knuckle pages, you'll find a professional hitman taking on more than he bargained for, a strange creature roaming a Vietnamese island, a nymphomaniac in the midst of a breakdown, and much more. I will have both collections linked in the description box down below for you to check out. The release date for A Bunch of Fives is June 1st, 2023. There is a pre-order link that is already up for you. While you're waiting for this one to come out, if you would like to check out author James Flynn, I would highly recommend reading another collection that he has out called The Hand That Pulls You Under, Tales of Absurdity and Lunacy. It was a fantastic collection that had a lot of genre blending between science fiction, fantasy, and horror. So thank you very much to author James Flynn for sponsoring today's video, inspired by his new collection of short stories release, A Bunch of Fives. Before I begin my recap of all of the things that I read in August, I do have written reviews for all of these books on my website, www.thenerdynarrative.com. So if you would like to take a look at the book description and see a few more of my in-depth thoughts to make sure this book is the right fit for you, all of that information will be in the description box down below. First up is Bitter Sun by Beth Lewis. This was recommended to me by my friend Penny. It was a hit. I would rank this one as a buy it status, meaning it belongs on your shelves. This is one that has reread capability because the story and its characters were so complex. There were so many things going on that I'm sure that I missed something. I can't wait to read it again and see what captures my focus the second time around now that I know how the story ends. Absolutely loved it. The next book I buddy read with my patron Gail. We loved it. It's book 2 in Luke Arnold's Fetch Phillips archive, Dead Man in a Ditch. This one, another one I would rank as a buy it. Belongs on your shelves. You're going to want to read it again. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this series going in, but I've fallen in love with it. I'm obsessed with finding out, will this world ever find magic again? I don't know for sure what's going on, but along with Fetch Phillips, I'm ready to find out. Next up is a reread. It's Death Note. I started over with this manga series. I'm currently a little over halfway through. I would definitely say this one, borrow it from your library. I would not buy this one. I did purchase this one, but I bought it a long time ago. I'm kind of over this continued circle our two main characters seem to be making round and round with each other. I'm hoping the second half of the series does something a little different. We'll have to wait and see what happens. And since we're talking about manga, we'll just keep that going with Junji Ito's newest release, Liminal Zone. Buy it. Besides the fact that it is just an absolutely gorgeous book, this collection of short stories by Junji Ito are amazing. All of them are wonderful. This is now my new favorite collection of his. Previously it was Frankenstein. This one has definitely topped that one. I will reread it. The stories were so interesting, so creepy, combined with his amazing sequential art. Just top notch. I can't wait for his next 2 releases. I have both of those pre-ordered. You'll be hearing about them next month on the channel. Next up here on the pile, I have The Ark. I'm going to put the gorgeous cover art here. I read Ledge by Stacey McEwen and absolutely loved it. I would say this is a buy it. 1, again, it's gorgeous. 2, it's the first book in the Galatian trilogy. I am a serial rereader, especially when I'm reading series that I know I'm going to continue. As soon as I get a release date for book 2 in this trilogy, I'll be going right back and rereading this book because 1, I loved it. I loved the character interactions. I loved the plot. I can't wait to see where it's going to go. And I also had the distinct pleasure of getting to have Stacey McEwen on the channel for my author series, Why My Story Matters. I'll have that video linked in the cards above as well as down in the description if you would love to find out what it was that got Stacey McEwen to put this story in words on paper to share with us readers. Another huge hit for me was Brandon Sanderson's The Will of Ascension. Definitely a buy it, collect it, whatever the top notch is. This installment of the series completely leveled up, even though at the beginning I thought, ooh, I am not going to like this main character. What's going to happen? Magic. That's what happened. Absolutely love this one. Cannot wait to finish the trilogy, hopefully in the month of September, so that I can start Era 2 in October. Next up out of this pile of happiness is The Ninth Reign by Jen Williams. I was very curious how I was going to feel about this one. A lot of my reviewing friends are split over this one. Some loved it, some did not like it, some DNF'd it. I loved it. This group of characters, they had my heart. I love the story. I love the science fiction elements of this fantasy series. I thought it was fantastic. It's so unique. It's so weird. I loved it. It just worked. If you had told me ahead of time about this, I would have looked at you like, it worked. This is one I would definitely say buy it. This one, definitely a buy it. You want to own Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. This was the wine and crime book pick for the month of August, and I believe it is everyone's favorite book we have read as a book club so far. The reason why I say this is one you should buy and have on your shelves, this has so many good messages, so many things you can learn from, get inspired by. This is a book that is for every reader. It's so good. It was just amazing. Lauren and Anitha joined me for the live show discussion of this one. I'll have it linked up above and of course in the description box down below, but this book, its name will be forever written across my heart. It's just a phenomenal story. It's fast paced, and it is one that if you are an audiobook lover, I would absolutely encourage you to go the audiobook route. Adam Lazar-White is amazing, and I'm so glad that he also narrated Blacktop Wasteland by S.A. Cosby, because that's going to be my next read by him. The next one, I can't tell you to buy it right now because it is out of print, at least for this cover. It's getting a new cover that's by artist Daniel Serra. I saw a sneak peek. I'm dying. I'm gonna buy it as soon as it's available. I'll let you guys know when it's available too. No offense to this beautiful cover art, which I absolutely love. I'm so glad that I have this copy. I will keep this one forever and ever, amen, because it is gorgeous. But Daniel Serra to me makes any book a collected. Love this book. Another very unique and original story about an apocalypse and the horsemen and what happens to your soul when you die. Just think about it. If your soul, if you realize, you see that death is coming for you, do you think you would just be able to let go? Do you think you would hang on? Are you frightened? Which I'm sure is also going to be factored into the method in which you die. But what if something else took your place for you, took that pain of death away? Y'all need to read this one, and I'll let you know as soon as it's available for purchase. The last one here in my pile of physical reads is J.P. Harker's Quiet Thunder. In my opinion, this is a buy it. I've read his Caledon saga. This takes place in that same world, but can absolutely be read apart from it. It is a standalone fantasy, and it is full of action. It's full of wonderful character development. The writing style is just easy and flowing. This book, to me, felt like coming home. And when I feel that way reading a book, I'm going to own it. It belongs on my shelves because this will be one that I want to pick up when I need a comfort read or I need to come out of a reading slump. But J.P. Harker, I've loved everything I've read by him, so it was no surprise that I love this one as well. And then let's talk about the books that I read on Kindle. First up, I read Wound to Wishes. It's the first in the Dark Tide series put out by Crystal Lake Publishing. It's going to be an extensive series made up of 3 novellas by 3 different authors, and the first one was amazing. It's loosely described as grief horror, and I loved it. The cover art alone makes the book collector in me want to have a physical copy. I did receive the art from Crystal Lake Publishing to read. It had 3 powerhouse authors, Chad Lutzke, John Bowden, and Robert Ford. While I do purchase a lot of books based off their covers, it is also with the intent that I'm going to love the story inside as well. I did enjoy this collection very much. Will I reread these novellas? Probably not, but I do believe it's included in the Kindle Unlimited subscription, so if you are a subscriber to that service, you are set up and ready to go. I also read Hackton II, which was published by Gloomhouse Publishing. It had 2 novellas in it, one by James G. Carlson and one by Damon Maine, and this was a case where each of the novellas had something in it that I usually don't go for, but it had a whole lot of stuff in that I did, and some things I didn't know I liked until I discovered it reading these novellas, and the more that I've thought about them, the more that I loved them. This is my second piece by James G. Carlson. Did not disappoint. My first by Damon Manx. I cannot wait to read more by both of these authors. It was just a fantastic experience for me. I pre-ordered and listened to the audiobook for The Babysitter Lives by Stephen Graham Jones. It was okay. If this was the first book I'd ever read by Stephen Graham Jones, I think I would have liked it a lot more than I do. I've read it after some of his powerhouse novels, and it just didn't measure up to those. That's not saying it's a bad book. I'm just saying I like his other stuff more. This one was just okay. The method in which he chose to tell the story is one that I am not a fan of, and that is probably where this one and I didn't get along. I respect the fact that he is always pushing his boundaries and trying new things. I really do. I would definitely say wait and get this one from your library. Next up is another one that the more I thought about it after I finished it, the more I loved it. That is Where Blood Runs Gold by A.C. Cross. This is a fantasy western. It opened the door for me to a new subgenre that I loved. In fact, I loved it so much, I read another SPFBO contestant called No Land for Heroes by Cal Black. Absolutely loved it. I am a huge fan of fantasy western now, and both A.C. Cross and Cal Black are working on sequels to both of these two novels. I can't wait. I absolutely cannot wait. The characters that are going to be featured in book 2s are just I can't wait. The last book in my SBFBO pile was The Ground by K.H. Nelson, and I had extremely high hopes for this one. The cover is absolutely gorgeous. The writing style got me on this one, and the author's usage of a foreign language that wasn't all completely translated, that got to where it was pulling me out, and a lot of the characters had different dialects that their speech was written that way, and unfortunately that's just something that distracts me. I'm more of a reader that prefers you to say Bob said in his heavy southern drawl, and then the quote would be written in proper English. I don't talk properly, but I want to read properly, if that makes any kind of sense. So because that's a personal preference of mine, that was pulling me out of the story. There were some things that the characters did in the beginning of the book before I could form a connection that prevented me from forming one. I just actively disliked, not love to hate. I just didn't like them. So me and this one sadly did not get along, but it might be one for you. So again, all of the books that I've talked about today, I have written reviews along with the book descriptions on my website if you want to check those out. See if you can find one that is a match for you. August was a phenomenal reading month. September is looking to be one as well. I am so glad you stopped by to see if I maybe found your next read. So if I've influenced you to pick any of these up, please be sure to come back and tell me how those books treated you, what your experience was. Thank you so much for being here. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll catch you in the next one.